Welcome to San Pedro de Atacama, Chile.
The southernmost country in the world.
And we explore the desert landscapes, salt flats, lakes, wildlife, and culture of the Atacama region. Hola, Namaste.
This is Pubali.
This is Sindranil, and we are Paradise Catchers.
We are an Indian couple living in Costa Rica, and we bring to you stories about traveling and digital nomad life in Latin America.
The Atacama Desert in Chile is the driest non-polar place on Earth. San Pedro de Atacama is a town in northern Chile, around 50 kilometers from the border of Bolivia. And it is our first stop in Chile, and in this video we talk about our first impressions, our border crossing experiences from Bolivia to Chile, and some of the places that we explored during our stay. Welcome to San Pedro de Atacama, the driest non-polar region on Earth.
We crossed over from Bolivia and entered Chile a few days ago. We took the land border, not an easy task on Indian passports, but we still did it, and it was actually fine. Here is a volcano. So we were on the other side of that volcano in Bolivia.
The immigration office of Bolivia was on the other side of the volcano, and after crossing the border, it was a little bit like you have to go a few hundred meters, and there was the immigration office of Chile, which was again beside this volcano. However, it was just in the middle of nowhere. So basically we had two immigrations in one day, like in the middle of nowhere around the volcano, only a few people around who were crossing the border along with us.
And these immigration offices were at more than 4,000 meters altitude. So we were just freezing while doing the paperwork.
So as we crossed Bolivia to Chile, the landscapes were changing. The immigration offices were at 4,000 meters. As we crossed the immigration office, we were going downhill, and San Pedro de Atacama is at around 2,600 meters. So definitely we came a long way down.
So when someone arrives at San Pedro de Atacama, it is still recommended that you should take time to acclimatize with this altitude. But since we were already sleeping at 4,000 meters, 4,500 meters for a few days in Bolivia, and we had already spent almost a month in Bolivia at very high altitudes, when we arrived at this 2,600 meters of San Pedro de Atacama, we felt like as if we have arrived in the plains, which is not true, but we felt like that.
And one more thing, it is really a desert climate where the temperatures are extreme.
So on the same day, you can experience temperatures ranging from 3 degrees to 28 degrees. And I think we also have forecast of around 0 degree, 1 degree some days.
When you come from Bolivia to Chile, that you will notice the difference in the prices. So definitely things have gone up. San Pedro de Atacama is a very touristy town. Main street is Caracoles, which is near the main town center, and it is a narrow street, and where on the both sides we have lots of tour offices, and all of them sell almost the same tour packages. There is a small centro of San Pedro de Atacama, and with this simple yet elegant church built in the 18th century. This is the largest church in the Atacama Desert and the second oldest church in Chile. And although like the street already has lots of apparel stores, souvenir stores, and obviously a lot of tour agencies who are selling almost the same everyone. The centro today, it seems like there is a little feria going on.
Is it Sunday today? Bingo Peri.
But this center is really nice. Like it's a small one, but very beautiful. Everything painted in white. The trees, it's like a little oasis in the desert. And since we were coming from Salar de Uyuni, and we have been through the border of Bolivia and Chile and have seen some of these landscapes, so we just picked a few tours to do while we are in San Pedro de Atacama. And here will be those 3 tours which we will take you through.
First is the Moon Valley tour. So today we have come for the Valle de la Luna or the Moon Valley Tour, which is a national park. Here, the landscape looks like that of Moon, or we even feel Mars, although we have not been to either of Moon or Mars.
The Valle de la Luna or the Moon Valley is a short drive from San Pedro de Atacama. It is in the Cordillera de la Sal or the Salt Mountain Range, and as the name suggests, the landscape there looks from somewhere outside the world. This is where you start to feel that this is part of the Atacama Desert, absolutely no vegetation, arid places, and different rock formation and sand dunes. We bought our ticket at the entrance ticket counter.
So in this national park, the Moon Valley National Park, we first went to a place to see an interesting rock formation called Tres Marias.
There are many odd rock formations spread across the valley, and one of this is this Tres Marias, formed due to soil and wind erosion.
This used to be the salt mine that was functional until 1970. But now the government has turned this into a national park, so it's only for tourists.
So we could see the salt miners' homes and their bathroom as well. And once it used to be where they used to live and mine salt here. This is a part where we have to hike a bit on the dunes, on the sand. So it's a little bit hard, but it's not cold, but it's not hot as well. But you can see that we are without the jackets. So, but loved the views from the top of the dunes. It's so beautiful.
Different kinds of landscapes. Somewhere we see different kinds of rock formations, somewhere we see vast expanse of sand and salt, and at places we see the rolling dunes. It's a beautiful sight from the top of the dunes.
After the Valle de la Luna, it was just time to have a break at the side of the road and just chill with some Chilean pisco sour and Chilean wine, along with some sandwiches, some snacks, fruits, and obviously the views. The last point of the day is a viewpoint to watch the sunset over the mountain ranges. The volcanoes at a distance and the Moon Valley from the top. It looks gorgeous.
The second one is the Piedras Rojas tour, which is probably the best one.
And a long one. Good. Yeah, all were good, but the Piedras Rojas was the longest one.
Yeah, it was the longest one. It's 7 o'clock now, but still so dark because the sun rises almost at 8 o'clock. So we are out for our next tour today, the Piedras Rojas or the Red Rocks tour.
This is the road and it's so empty and only a few cars travel, so we can just stand on the middle of the road and people are taking pictures.
And this is the Tropic of Capricorn.
There is a board of Tropic of Capricorn and it runs through here. That is coming. While our guides are setting up the table for breakfast, people are taking videos and photos of the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's a beautiful sunrise happening just behind a volcano.
Here we have stopped for a couple of lakes. One is Miscanti and the other one is Misiques. These two lakes are part of the national park called Parque Nacional Los Flamingos. It's not just the two lakes here. The lakes are also surrounded by a a mountain range, and many of these mountains are volcanoes, and some of these volcanoes are also snow-capped peaks. And the vegetation at the foothill of the mountains, it's very interesting. It's like a little blob of each of these are like little blobs of yellow grasses. It's not just the nature here. These lakes and the volcanoes also hold significant importance for the people here, the community of Atacama. Our next stop was Piedras Rojas Lagoon, also known as Aguas Calientes Salt Flats. But before we get closer, we stop at this mirador to take in the beautiful views of the lake. Then we continue the drive and arrive at the entrance, from where we have to walk a bit until we reach the lake. But along the way, the views are gorgeous. The landscape consists of volcanoes, mountains, and these interesting red stone formations. These red stones are the reason how the lake gets its name, Piedras Rojas, which is Spanish for red stones or red rocks. The rocks get their red color because of iron oxidation. With this sky blue colored lake in the background and red colored rocks in the foreground, it creates a mesmerizing scenery. Because it's so cold, some bit of the water had also frozen on the edges.
And we are on Piedras Rojas lake, right? And I'm sure you can't hear me because it's too windy. We had a very nice lunch
In the middle of nowhere.
and it was inside enclosure, like naturally formed enclosure, so that there was no wind.
With views of mountains and little grasses and interesting vegetation.
Our last stop, this was the Salar de Atacama or the Chaksa Lagoon. So all the while we were just trying to wear more clothes. Near the Piedras Rojas, it was so cold and so windy we couldn't even speak. And the final one was this Chaksa Lagoon. So we were wearing 2 layers of jackets, and now we are just wearing this because it's hot here. And there is all salt around.
These are all salt. Here, the flats don't form like that of Bolivia salt flats because it doesn't rain here, so it doesn't get the chance to settle. So that is why there are weird formations. The salt comes out, there is no precipitation, and with the mixture of different minerals and things in the air, these interesting textures form with the salt.
Oh, and of course the flamingos again. And we could see a good view of the flamingos here as well in the Chaksa Lagoon. After the lagoons in Bolivia, this was also an impressive one because we could get some close-up shots of the flamingos. One thing to tell about San Pedro de Atacama is that since it's the driest region, it's also a good place for observing the stars because there is absolutely no cloud most part of the year, and you can see the Milky Way and lots of stars and constellations if you're here, even the planets. So which is why the Astronomic Tour is very popular in this part of the world. And also to mention that the famous ALMA Observatory is in Chile. And the reason being, again, because of the clear sky. Our pickup is here for the Astronomic Tour.
It's called Bajo de la Noche de Atacama, under the sky of Atacama.
So I think the conditions are good, so hopefully we will see a lot of stars today.
Yeah, here is the astronomy expert, so he can guess if the conditions are good.
No cloud. It's all good.
On that magical night in the freezing cold of Atacama Desert, we got cozy in our blankets in this beautiful setting. We looked at the stars and constellations with our naked eyes and also with this telescope. We also saw Saturn with this telescope. There were snacks and hot beverages and wine to keep us warm as we listened to Rodrigo Zuniga, an experienced stargazer who shared his knowledge with us and also took this beautiful photo for us. We have boarded the transfer van. Now we are on the way to the Calama airport. From the airport, we will get our flight to Santiago. Next destination, the capital city of Chile.
We are saying bye to San Pedro de Atacama. Hasta luego.